Hi friends, welcome to Crack Grade B. We are back with yet another important lecture on the current affairs series that we are doing for you. So this is the lecture from the 21st of March to 31st March 2022. So let's begin with the first piece of news. That is framework for geotagging of payment system touchpoint. Now, so this was already announced in the developmental and regulatory policy with the bi-monthly monetary policy statement. But on 8 October 2021. But the rules are or the guidelines are coming now, right? Under which section? Under section 2A 10 2A, read with section 18 of Payment and Settlement Act 2027. Very important point, right? Sometimes when RBI comes up, you will tend to think it is only related to RBI Act or Banking Regulation Act, but see here it's Payment and Settlement System Act, right? So now we will have to understand what is geotag. Geotag means, you remember or if you go to your phone setting, when you click a photo, you can choose to geotag the location from where you are clicking the photo. So most of the phones nowadays have that. So just like that, when you make a payment, right, the payment aggregator is going to tag the location where you have made the payment along with the statement, right? So this is regarding the geotag. Now the guidelines has come. So payment happens in two ways. Number one, banking infrastructure. Banking infrastructure means you are paying it through net banking, you are paying through the bank branches, right? You are paying someone through cash depositing machine, you are using the ATM, the card to card transfer mechanism. So all those are banking infrastructure, right? But there is one more infrastructure that is happening through national payment switch, national financial switch, or the UPI network, means the network managed by NPCI. So that is happening through QR code. So these are the major two infrastructure through which a payment is getting transmitted or received by the user in India, right? So geotagging benefits. What are the benefits of geotagging? Especially policy intervention, right? So it can have multiple benefit, right? So maybe all the benefit is not outright right now, but yes, in future the data can be used in multiple things, like which of the city or which of the tier 2 city uses QR code the most. So all those things the RBI can put analytics into and can judge many things based on that data, right? So it is just not limited to this much, but as of now it is this much. What is geotagging and its benefit? Now how will the data get collected? Okay, so as I told you, read this, you will understand it, right? So let's move to the next news article, that is sectoral deployment of bank credit for the month of Feb 2022. So understand one thing, all this this kind of news, sectoral deployment of bank credit, you will get it in every month. So try to remember at least a month before the examination. That would be enough. For example, if you have exam in your March, try to remember the data for the Feb. That would be more than enough, because MCQs are usually not done through this, but you never know, they can do it. We have not seen the sectorial deployment of bank credit data in the MCQ, but yes, they can ask you. But this kind of information would give you a broad sense when you write the descriptive paper. Okay, so let's move forward to the next one. WMA, wage and mean advances limit for the Government of India. Very important piece of news. Now it has been decided in consultation with the Government of India that limit for WMA for the first half of the financial year 22-23, that is from 1st of April 2022 to September end 22, it will be 1,50,000 crore. Believe me, this is one of the very important piece of news, right? You can get it in the form of MCQ as well. Now what are the other highlight? The RBI may trigger fresh flotation of market loans when the government utilize 75% of the WMA limit, means 75% of this 1,50,000 crore, right? Now the Reserve Bank retain the flexibility to revise the limit at any time in consultation with Government of India, taking into considering the prevailing circumstances. What are this? The interest rate on WMA overdraft will be, for WMA it would be repo rate. For overdraft, means beyond 1,50,000 crore, it would be 2% above the repo rate. So see, government taking a loan from RBI is also not the easy thing to do. It is also a costly affair. right? So it is done to the repo rate, and also if it is overdraft 2% above the repo rate. So very important. Now let's move. Now what is WMA? So right, as you all know that we put every static information that is important with the current affair. So this is the thing, just read it, you will understand. Now introduction to options on commodity indices. So this is circular, this is a circular by SEBI, where SEBI has introduced options on commodity indices. Okay, so why? Let us see. In an endeavor to have more product in the commodity derivative market on the basis of recommendation of Commodity Derivative Advisory Committee and proposal from the stock exchange, NSE, BSE, etc., it is decided to permit stock exchange having a commodity derivative segment to introduce options on commodity indices, right? So this why will give you a broad sense on why you are reading this current affair, right? Now how this will be done, what is the prerequisite, what will be the effective? The effective is the provision of this circular shall be effective from the date of the circular as per the SEBI, means it is immediate. Now let's move to the next one, convenient monitoring of with DLT. Okay, so SEBI issues operational guideline for convenient monitoring with DLT. Now let us understand what it is. In August 2021, the regulator has specified the manners of recording of charges by issuers and manner of monitoring by debenture trustees and credit rating agency, among other, right? So there has been some issue with the recording of charges by the issuer, the person who, the organization that issues it, and means debentures, right? And the agency that monitors, the debenture trustees, right? And the credit rating agency. Then why? As the backbone of the DLT system would be the uniqueness of asset recorded in the system. A unique identifier, means asset ID, would be allotted for each asset offered by an issuer as security for the non-convertible securities. So this is, you can compare it with the Aadhaar card. For example, the securities is going to get a unique number through which it will be identified. That's it. So let's move forward. Let's see data breach. What is about? This RBI has decided to review the business model of payment aggregators in view of the spate of fraud hitting consumer due to unauthorized sharing of financial data. Now let me tell you what is happening. For example, who is the payment aggregator? Payment aggregator like PhonePe, BharatPe, right? And let's say Google Pay. So see, what is the working model for PhonePe? When you transact an amount from PhonePe, let's say you pay for your tea, 10 rupees to a tea seller, right? So the PhonePe is going to charge you rupees 10. No, not above that. Means there is no charges for the transaction. You will pay. On the other hand, the person is going to receive rupees 10 in his or her account. Rupees 10. So now understand how will the PhonePe make the revenue. You are using the PhonePe server to pay, right? Although network, the server is from the NPCI side, means UPI server, right? Which is settling the amount from bank to bank. But you are using the PhonePe infrastructure to do that. So now how PhonePe is going to work? Look, what does this PhonePe have? This PhonePe will have the amount of transaction that you do throughout the month, means it will have a sense of your income, your expenditure, right? So what it can do, for example, what BharatPe does, BharatPe has a sister concern company called I think it's PostPay. Yeah, something related to PostPay, right? I'm not sure about the name, so pardon me if I have made a mistake with the name. Rest everything is right. Okay, so BharatPay has a sister company where the user of the BharatPay can take loan from PostPay, right? Not from BharatPay. So what BharatPay is doing, it is sharing the data within its own group. That's fine. It is sharing the data within its own group. But how is this PhonePe going to work? So what PhonePe will do, PhonePe will tie up with, let's say, Capital Float. Capital Float is an NBFC, right? Which finance mostly consumer durables. So, and PhonePe will offer 10,000 credit limit. So where does this 10,000 comes from? This 10,000 comes from capital float, or it will straight away sell your data to capital pay. So this is the data breach, right? Now, so what RBI is trying? RBI is trying to understand how data sharing works, whether they are taking consent from the customer to share the data, whether the loan they are extending on their books or in the books of some other entities are also the development comes at a time when a host of payment aggregators have queued up for the NBFC license. Now, why they have queued up? Because they are trying to make another Bharat Pay. Since Bharat Pay was initially started as a payment aggregator, right? Then when they understood the market potential, they switched to NBFC, right? They were offering loans. So without being the NBFC license, they can't do it. So that is what they are doing. And RBI is trying to understand that. Okay. So sources said that RBI wanted to understand the issue of these entities before extending the license. Who are the largest player? Largest player is PhonePe, Google Pay are the largest player among payment aggregators. And they manage over 80% of the transaction processed through UPI, right? Especially the PhonePe. Then, so let's move to the next one. Passive breach by MF. Now, very important piece of news. Understand that SEBI has tightened the rules regarding passive breach. So we will understand what passive breach is. Now new rules will come into effect from July 1, 2022. Fine. Now what is passive breach? See, when you purchase a mutual fund, okay, the fund has clearly written that it will invest, for example, 10% of money in the financial sector, 10% in the financial, chemical, 15% in automobile. So everything, it will give you 100%. Means the mutual fund house will tell you about this scheme, that where they are going to put the money. Now, what is passive breach here? Understand. So that mutual fund is managed by a single person, a fund manager. So what the fund manager, let's say there is a continuous downfall in the financial sector, continuous downfall. So what he will do, in order to save the losses, he or she will pull the money from the financial sector and put it somewhere else. He is doing great, but understand, but he is breaching something. What? He is breaching the trust between you and the mutual fund house, right? Because you already know that your 10% of the money is in financial sector through that SIP maybe, right? So this is the fund manager is doing to save your losses. So this is passive breach. This is not a negative breach. This is a passive breach. So what what SEBI is saying, that SEBI has said all mutual fund schemes other than the index fund and exchange traded fund, right? So index fund is related to the index. Nothing, no one can, change. So whatever there is in index, you will have to put, even if it is in downfall or in the, in the bull run or in the bear run, doesn't matter. And also the exchange traded fund. So except this will be given 30 days to rectify any passive breach, right? So the timeline is 30 days. So I hope it is clear now. Now let's move to the next one. Reserve Bank Innovation Hub. So Reserve Bank has inaugurated an innovation hub in the Bengaluru. Now what is innovation hub? By the name itself, it is clear, right? So RBI wants technological innovations under, so that UPI is an outcome of technological innovation, right? RuPay network, although it's not the, because UPI network is almost identical to what MasterCard and Visa does. And RuPay is something that is being done by the National Payment Corporation of India. But UPI is one thing you can say, it's a technological leap that India has made, right? Let's move to the next one. Parliamentary panel on NPA. Okay. So recently there is a parliamentary panel on NPA and everything has come out. But we are not going to discuss it here because we have already done it in the PIB videos, right? So let's move to the next one. Rupees 1 trillion infrastructure lending target. So government sets rupees 1 trillion infrastructure lending target for developmental DFIs, right? Why? To catalyze investment in the fund-starved infrastructure sector, the DFI plans to invest in infrastructure project in India and outside with a focus prioritizing systematic risks mitigation and credit enhancement, right? What are the key highlights? The key highlights are the center has set a target of about rupees 1 trillion for government bank, that is NABFID, right? So where will the money come from? The government has infused 20,000 crore as the equity in DFI and an additional 5,000 crore has been given as a grants to NABFID. So what is equity? Equity is the ownership that government has taken by giving 20,000 crore and 5,000 crore as a grant. Means no ownership for that 5,000 crore, right? Now, let's move to the next one. So what is NABFID? Right? National Bank for Financing Infrastructure and Development. So you can go through it, you will understand. Now, stake in ONDC by banks. Now, what is ONDC? HDFC Bank, Kotak Mahindra and Axis Bank acquire stake in the ONDC. What is ONDC? What is ONDC? ONDC is Open Network Digital Commerce. First, let us understand ONDC. Okay, so through this ONDC, you can search anything in the sense, let's say when you are searching a product in Amazon, you don't know what is the price in Flipkart, means in another vendor, right? So maybe two different vendors are selling. So ONDC tries to solve this problem through Open Network Digital Commerce. Now, HDFC Bank, Kotak and Axis Bank has infused rupees 10 crore each to take the equity from the ONDC, right? Now, let's move to the next one. 81 bonds. So HDFC Bank and IDBI Bank raised money from 81 bonds. So HDFC Bank raised rupees 5,000 crore, care rating given A++ rating. IDBI raised 3,000 crore. Very important points, right? Now, what is 81 bond? It's already there, but yes, 81 bond had been coming up almost in every month. Different banks used to do it. So I hope you already know what 81 bond is. So with this, let's move to the India's GDP growth. So as per the UN report, they have downgraded India's 22 GDP growth to 4.6% due to war in Ukraine. Okay. So let's move. Now, this is very important piece of news. 86% of the farmer group supported 3 repealed law. What are those 3 laws that government has changed? Now, Supreme Court appointed panel found that 86% farmer group supported repeal law. So this is a survey by government of Telangana. Okay. So let's move to the next one. Okay, Ernst Young FICCI report on advertising sector. So India's advertising sector is expected to grow CAGR of 12% and should reach 1 trillion in revenue by 2024. So this is huge, 1 trillion in revenue by 2022. So it's a joint report by the industry body FICCI and Ernst and Young company, right? So now just go through this data, 2 times, that would be enough. But yes, what you should know that it will grow, expected to grow by CAGR of 12% and should reach up to rupees 1 trillion in revenue by 2024. So Niti Aayog Export Preparedness Index 2021, right? Now, Gujarat topped Niti Aayog index in a row. But let us understand what is this index. So it has 4 pillars: policy, business ecosystem, export ecosystem and export performance, right? So most important point here is Gujarat in second consecutive term it has emerged as the top performer. So in the category of coastal states, right? Now these are the top 5 states: Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Haryana. The bottom 5 states are Lakshadweep, Andhra Pradesh, Mizoram, Ladakh and Meghalaya, right? Next move, let's move to the next one, World Air Quality Report 2021. So issue is, recently 2021 World Air Quality Report was released. The report presented an overview of the state of global air quality 2021 by IQ Air, a Swiss group. Okay, how? It's a measure of air quality level based on the concentration of PM25, PM 2.5. What is the survey size? The survey size is 2.5 air quality data from this many cities has been taken. Right? So what is the India's position? India's position is India's annual 2.5 average to now written pre-quarantine concentration measured in 2019 means again it's it's going backward. India was home to 11 of 15 most polluted city in the Central and South Asia in 2021. Right? Very important piece of news. Now let's move to the next one. So you can see these are the 2021 capital city ranking. Okay, New Delhi at number 1, then Dhaka and so on. Okay. Now, State of the World Population 2022 report. Now, this was given by whom? This was given by the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, flagship State of the World Population Report 2022 launched by United Nations Population Fund. Seeing the unseen, the case for action in the neglected crisis of unintended pregnancy, right? So it says about why the population is growing, and related to it, it's saying everything, right? So between 2015 and 19, there were roughly 121 million unintended pregnancies globally each year, right? So there are a few points like contraceptive use is 53% lower among women who have experienced intimate partner violence. So you should go through this data. Absolutely. In MCQ directly it will not ask, but overall in the descriptive, this is right. This is related to gender issue, and again this is related to population. So we have two ESI, topic matching the current affairs. So it becomes important when you write descriptive. Okay, then World Energy Transition Outlook 2022. So recently International Renewable Energy Agency launched the World Energy Transition Outlook 22 at the Berlin Energy Transition Dialogue. Okay, now what are the key findings of the report? You can go through it at least 2 times, that would be enough. Okay, let's move to the next one. Okay, India opens up central government procurement. So central government procurement, India has opened it to UAE, right? So after the UAE has signed FTA, it has opened through the GEM portal, right? They can come and participate in the GEM portal. Now, changes in GST system. So next one is changes in GST system. So what is the changes? The changes is auditing officers lose notice power under the GST system, right? So it is only trying to, the council is trying to reform the system so that public are not harassed. So the auditing officer can just audit, it cannot issue notice. So the person doing the audit has lost the power, or the officer at the auditing end has lost that power, right? So now, why expert alleged that auditing and investigative officers were not executing the notice judiciously and were retaining the demands made in them, right? So they were not listening to it. So that's the changes. Rest, when you go through it, you will understand. Then, Minamata Convention on Mercury. So Indonesia has introduced a global declaration that calls on parties to Minamata Convention on Mercury to tackle illegal trade of the mercury, right? So why mercury? Mercury is one of the very dangerous things. Once it get into the bloods, it can cause severe chronic problem, right? So it is very, very, very toxic effect on the nervous system of the of any mammal, maybe it's human, or any animals. So it's very toxic in that sense. So the declaration was read in Nusa Dua, Bali, where Indonesia is hosting the 4th Conference of Party, COP4. Very important. Bali, it's COP4, Minamata Convention on Mercury, right? So now let's move to the next one, that is hidden inflation. Very important and very important piece of article. This is not a actually current affair, but an article by the World Economic Forum. So what is happening? If I move to the picture, you will understand. So what is happening is that instead of reducing the price, instead of increasing the price for inflation, the companies are reducing the size. Okay, for example, this biscuit packet, see, it has 264 sheets, now it's only 244. So again, you are hit by the inflation, but you are paying the same price. So that is what it is. Now, as you all know that we do not discuss one-liner, but yes, those are very important. So with this, we have come to the end of this lecture. We wish you very good luck from Team RBI Grade B. Happy and thank you, learning.